Madam Walker was this kind of larger than life person. There was a building named after her that my mother went to work in every day. On a very personal level, the silverware that we used every day had her monogram. The china that we used on special occasions had belonged to her. The baby grand piano that I learned to read music on had belonged to her daughter, who was Alelia Walker, who was the joy goddess of Harlem's 1920s, according to Langston Hughes. So I was, immersed in their lives, but at the same time, I kind of kept it at a little bit of a distance, because kids don't really want to have something that makes them different from it, and you want to fit into the crowd.
Right,
so I wasn't really comfortable with having that notoriety. And my mother, thank goodness, was so wise to not make it a big deal.
Okay.
To just let me find my own level. There was no pressure. And my real interest was writing.
Okay.
And my mother was the fourth generation of women in her family to have been an executive at the Walker Company. And she encouraged me to follow my dreams.
Okay.
So I followed my dreams to be a journalist.
Okay.
And I had to go through a period of time where I was really ambivalent about Madam Walker. I'm a child of the 60s. In 1969, which seems forever ago, but I was a senior in high school. Afros were very big. I had a perm, and I was very politically conscious. I was in a predominantly white school. I wanted to express myself with my hair. And so I asked to have an afro. My father thought this was a horrible idea because Summit Laboratory made chemical hair straighteners, and he thought, who's going to pay for your tuition if everybody wears an afro? That was sort of where he was coming from. But my mother, in her wisdom, took me down to the Madam Walker Beauty School, where the students rolled my hair up on permanent wave rods and transformed my perm into a giant Angela Davis-like afro. So she understood that hair was just hair. But I went through that period where other people thought, oh, Madam Walker, she's the person who straightens hair. She wants to make black people look white, and she invented the straightening comb. And so I really was not comfortable with that at all. And when I went to college, I was still with my afro, and I was doing a paper. And at that time, W.E.B. Du Bois was my intellectual hero. He had gone to Harvard, and he was a brilliant man. I really admired him. And I was doing some research. I was reading an old issue of the Crisis magazine, which was the NAACP magazine, which he edited. And in the August 1919 issue, there was an obit of Madam Walker. And he praised her. And he said she had done great things, and she had helped transform black women and make them feel beautiful, and that she had built a business. And, and I thought, wow, if my intellectual hero thinks she's so great, I need to re-examine this. So I began a journey of re-examining her. And I became comfortable. So I didn't just think she was great in the beginning and just kind of do the hagiography and no criticism and no critique. I had to go through a period of time in really studying her. And when I began to do that, really began to look at her, I discovered, no, she didn't do it the straightening comb. That made me much more comfortable.
So that's one of the myths that she did invent.
She did not invent the straightening comb. No, her objective was not straightening hair. Her objective was growing hair and creating healthy scalps. And we'll talk more about that, about the straightening hair piece. But just to sort of tie this little section up, what she was doing, what made me excited about her is that yes, she was helping to transform women. She was giving them something. She was helping them to go into business so they could become economically independent. She was using her money to organize women into a national organization of business women. She was using that wealth to be a political activist and to be a philanthropist. So for me, once I realized that Madam Walker was not just about hair, and that she certainly wasn't about the hot comb. Then I began to embrace her.